Welcome back. This time we're talking about Silence, directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver as two Jesuit priests who in the 1600s sneak into Japan to discover the whereabouts of their mentor who's gone missing amidst horrible persecution and downright slaughter of Christians in that country. Now I have to say, Martin Scorsese is one of those filmmakers. He's one of the greatest working today, and when you hear that he has a new movie coming out, I'm automatically intrigued. When I hear that it's a film that he's been trying to make for the better part of 2 decades, I'm excited. And for the most part, this film is definitely worth getting excited about. It's a powerful, compelling movie, brutally unrelenting. And while it doesn't quite stick the landing that you would want it to, is another showcase of not only Scorsese's masterful direction, but also Andrew Garfield's acting. This is his second great performance of 2016 after Hacksaw Ridge. And I have to say, after this year, and I'm calling it this year even though I'm seeing this movie in 2017, Andrew Garfield is just not an actor we can ignore anymore because he has delivered in two back-to-back great performances. Now, as I said, the story focuses on these two priests, and pretty much the entire film is told through the point of view of Andrew Garfield's character, Rodriguez. They sneak into Japan to not only check on the Christian flocks, but also to find their mentor, played by Liam Neeson, who is rumored to have publicly denounced the Christian faith. They're welcomed by the few Christian followers still remaining, but have to remain in hiding to avoid the High Inquisitor, who is continuing to try to track down any remaining Christians so he can either torture or execute them. And the resulting story is an honestly fascinating one about faith, about martyrdom, about what it means to maintain your faith both internally and publicly, and at what cost, both to ourselves and to others, are we willing to pay to maintain that faith. While the two priests are willing to be martyrs for the faith, the High Inquisitor, unfortunately, knows this as well. So instead of attacking them directly, he attacks their flocks, causing pain, misery, and death wherever he goes. And the question comes down to, what's the price of them maintaining their faith, and what is the price to their flocks for not maintaining that faith? And the answer is not an easy one, and the film doesn't allow it to be an easy one. This is a film filled with moral quandaries, and as I said, does not pretend that there are easy answers. Now, with a lot of Scorsese films, Silence is a very long movie. It's 2 hours, 47 minutes, and for the most part has a slow, relatively brooding pace. And that pace works. It doesn't just wallow in the misery, but it lets you experience it so you can feel the anguish that these priests are feeling because they're pretty much at fault for it, even though they're not the ones that are perpetrating it. Where the film starts to falter is in its final act. I'd say probably like the last 30 minutes, but especially the last 20, which are more or less sort of an extended epilogue. We kind of reach ahead, and then the film sort of kind of goes into fast forward mode and to try to wrap up its story and kind of tie it into some actual historical figures. And after such a deliberate pace for more than 2 hours, this is not only jarring, but it just doesn't draw us in and is not nearly as compelling as the rest of the movie. It's not that it's bad, but it's just not as good as the rest of the movie, and unfortunately that's the last impression we get. It's still a very great movie. The direction obviously is great. The cinematography is good. The acting is phenomenal. The story is very interesting. I love the various locations they found to film in. It's very picturesque, even when horrible things are happening. And there's that dichotomy that I believe is purposeful, and it is used to great effect in this movie. So if this is a story that you find interesting in these concepts, you find interesting these deep moral quandaries when it comes to faith, missionary work, and as well as how these characters react to the persecution, it's definitely worth seeing. It's definitely a great film. It's not, for me, going to be a top 10 for 2016 because of the problems at the end, but still a very good movie. So if you've seen Silence, what did you think about it? Especially that last 20 or so minutes. Do you think that hurt the overall film like I did? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.